Hello everyone and welcome to the 2025 United States Women's Disc Golf Championships. We're at Silver Creek Park in Manitowoc, Wisconsin for our fourth and final round. Holly Finley, your leader, 6-stroke advantage over Jennifer Allen. Sitting in third is Stephanie Vincent, and rounding out our card, Sandra Richardson. And I'm joined by none other than 4-time world champ, Valarie Jenkins. Val, FP40 action. Thanks for joining, and you ready for this?
I am so ready. I'm ready to crown a new U.S. champion in the Masters division. Hole 1. It starts off with this pretty wide open shot, and then it narrows into this gap that you have to hit. We saw a lot of players going out wide to the right for their second shots, but it finishes down here in this little valley. There is OB down at that bottom and long. And the wind is ripping. You can hear it. We had some crazy weather all week.
Very hot and humid was kind of rolling into the area. However, Manitowoc specifically has been saved thus far on Saturday and now Sunday's round. A little cooler here than out where they were playing at Roland Ridge. And Jen is way off on the right side, but she's inbounds.
It's kind of a two-woman race at this point. Stephanie Vincent in no man's land. She's just hoping to maintain that podium position. And a great placement shot off the tee.
And Sandra Richardson sitting at 19 over. We saw plenty of her as well, along with Jen back at the U.S. Women's at that major, the Tim Selinsky, just a few weeks ago back in May.
So this is Holly going out wide to the right. Did she have enough to get around? And she did. You do not want to get stuck in those trees.
A lot of airspace over to the right, as long as you don't turn anything over and find the right side road. And that gets hung up short.
And Stephanie is going that up the gut route and leaves it early. So Jen was safe here?
Nope.
Yep, she
Wow.
was safe. Just had to make sure she was inside the Mando sign on the second shot, and that's going to be shallow left side.
Who was in there? Is that?
Yeah, a difficult pitch out that we just saw there from Stephanie.
Oh, wow. She was deep in there. And now back out to the open. Can she hit this shot this time? And leaves it at the top.
Yeah, you really want to crest the hill. If you get over the hill where you can't see it, you're guaranteed to have a putt from inside the circle. So Holly's third.
Really strange stance that she took there. It was, I'm sure, very difficult for her to get any power.
Richardson for her fourth. Looks like it's going to be a bogey open. Jen is on this left side. She was safe, didn't get all the way to the water.
Yeah, this is a pretty difficult putt. She's throwing downhill, so she goes to the knee to kind of get a little more level. Oh, that was a great run.
That looked good. Yeah.
I agree.
And this is the same creek that will come into play in 2 holes from now as Finley splashes out on the right side. Ultimately, when they're playing hole 3, they're on the other side of the creek playing the opposite direction.
You tell how protected it is from the wind down here near the river. That's helpful when you're putting on this green.
not a lot of the good feels or vibes here as we're opening up on this first hole. Everybody with a struggle at one time or another. That's going to be a double bogey for Stephanie, the bogey for Jen, and then ultimately a bogey for Holly as well. Still a 6-stroke lead for Finley. We head to hole 2.
Hole 2, you're shooting over that gap, over the river, and trying to get into this opening here. It's difficult to penetrate far through these trees. There's so many kind of sporadic trees, or really a tough line to hit. We saw very few open players get this one close.
You need a ton of power, plus you need that low ceiling to worry about, and it's a big ask.
Jen's got the power to get up there. She leaves this beautifully low, gets a great skip. You just hope that you have an open putt. There are so many trees around this pin.
Oh.
I'm going to say that's going to be one of the better drives probably of the weekend for our FP40 division, what we saw from Jen. It's a matter of then capitalizing on it.
Stephanie gets over on that one, and it seems to just continue to stay right.
Oh, you got a hyzer though.
Sandra is, she does her own commentary, let's just say.
Nice controlled shot by Stephanie.
I'm still laughing about Sandra. She seems surprised with every shot she's released so far. Oh, and a beautiful approach there.
As much as I loved filming Sandra and watching during the Tim Selinsky, it ultimately frustrated me a little where I saw her mistake is often just releasing it low. Just that's the one error I don't need to tell her. I know she knows, but that's the one mistake that she makes most often, is just letting it go early or low.
Speaking of, missed opportunity there. At this point, Jen needs to just go all out if she wants to try and catch Holly.
And maybe not too surprising that we didn't have any birdies on this hole. Played as the 3rd most difficult hole on the course. Hole number 1 played as the 2nd most difficult hole, and there were no birdies there in the FP40 division either.
I love this hole. I feel like this is a signature hole on this course. It seems like you should get a birdie on it, but they left that strategically placed kind of stump, I guess you would call it, but that topped off tree, a couple of them there on that right-hand side, blocking off that perfect direct line to the pin. And with that basket on the hillside, gravity takes your disc off to that left, brings it near that creek.
And that'll check up and keep her just on the edge. Not a bad shot at all.
Nope.
Jen was really trying to use so much airspace on that one. I want to see him throwing at these trees. Yeah, exactly like this here from Stephanie. That's beautiful.
Thank you. I like it.
Stephanie parks the short pin placement, which means she has a good look to the placement they're playing to.
Yeah.
Great release as well.
Same thing I did yesterday. Hit the tree. You still got the legs. A good leg.
That's the tree you were talking about, Val.
Yep, they left him there for a reason.
I don't see her throwing a lot of forehands. So far, 1 for 1 here today. That was a nice effort. Jen has to be careful with the angle. Yeah, and she was even calling for it to sit down.
Yeah, Holly.
Green light?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a backdrop. Ooh, I thought you knew something I didn't. I was waiting for that one to drop.
And almost everything you would say about Jen's aggressive, potentials or behavior could be said for Stephanie if she wants any chance to catch Jen.
Yeah, exactly. And Sandra to Stephanie.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all kind of very spaced out.
6, 7, and 8 are the differences here. So everybody kind of in their own little world, and that might give you a little comfort. Hole 3 didn't yield as many bogeys as some of the first 2 holes, but it also didn't yield a single birdie all round. So not as many bogeys, but not a single birdie.
Yeah, it's kind of at that higher tier of distance. You really have to throw a pretty powerful shot with accuracy. Speaking of, I love this hole. I wish I had the power of some of our big distance throwers, but you head straight uphill. I think this is a sledding hill in the winter, but we're heading up. It's a 2-shot hole. You want to make sure you're getting as far up the hill, and then that second shot, hopefully you can get it up on that knoll where the basket is.
The shadow is really like the ideal landing zone. If you can somehow push as far up as that shadow, you've thrown a pretty good drive.
So here's my tip for throwing uphill. Just make sure that you're not the shortest drive.
Because then you have to throw first.
You got to throw first, and you've huffed your way all the way up the hill. If you have to throw first, you don't have any time to catch your breath and focus on the next shot. So, I mean, that's not really a tip, but it's a tip. Write that one down.
Oh, okay. Forgot it's so uphill.
You'll find out.
Hey,
Sandra's huffing and trying to focus on this next shot.
I mean, she's from Colorado.
Yeah, she's seen more elevation for sure.
Just awkward timing and run up as well. And I feel like if you get to that shadow or beyond, most players are rewarded with a standstill, not having to rely on getting power in a run up. This timing is so much more difficult. Well, unless you're Holly.
Now, Holly just has the height of being a tall person to her advantage, and her release point is so high. She can really throw those uphill shots so accurately. That looks good from Jen.
Able to bend it to give her a look for the putt. Sandra.
Drop.
Oh.
Dustin, I think I went over the basket.
And while we're at it, Dustin Skorpinski came up on his birthday to film. I asked him if he would have any interest to do this for my channel, and he said yes. So he drove an hour and a half that morning on his birthday to film this round for my channel.
I want to know what kind of present you got him this year.
I owe him a bunch of barrel-aged beers, actually. He's in the same neighborhood of what I am for taste. No, and it rolls.
Oh, Jen's got to get out of the way.
Just brutal. So everybody loves you, Dustin, and we really appreciate you going out and capturing this action for us.
Saying, yeah, where's my beer, Terry? He was set up for the easy par, but that was a little too powerful.
So Jen collects the birdie.
And that's a hole you would expect Jennifer Allen's name to be on the birdie list.
plays as the 7th most difficult. And the one woman in the entire field to get the birdie today. You just saw it, Jennifer Allen.
And with her getting the birdie, she's one stroke closer to Holly. So I'm sure the wind's still ripping, and I recall this hole being very challenging for the players off the tee. They want to throw the turnover shot, and then the next shot, depending on where they land in those trees, you have to kind of weave your way through the trees to give yourself a putt. Another good hole for distance. We'll see if Jen could take advantage.
Now sit, now sit, now sit, now sit.
Yeah.
That's a big drive.
It would be difficult to get all the way to the road. If anyone could do it, it would be Jen to find the OB road that's dead straight, but I don't think she really has to worry about that. Holly misses the Mando.
We saw this happen so often. You really need to turn it over, but then I think players are scared to throw into those trees. That's very thick on that right side. Stephanie was heading toward the Mando, but she goes past it. Nice turn from Sandra.
So that means Holly moves up to this shorter tee pad after the missed Mando. Very difficult. Not a good chance to save par from here when you're this far back.
Yeah. You're a couple hundred feet short of the Mando still. You do not get any advantage with distance.
This is almost the ideal landing zone. This is the perfect place to land.
It is downhill.
She was trying to remember the previous hole was uphill, though. So. She'll have that left for the par. Coming up short of the road. And yeah, Jen, as you see, not too going over the next tee pad, actually.
And that's a scary approach with the road right there on the left. You really have to make sure that you're throwing that line and the disc isn't going to hyzer out. Good approach. I know Holly's struggling. Is she still outside the circle with that putt?
Yeah.
Ah, bummer.
So this is for her par. And it was such a good drive initially and just not working the approach game.
And I'm glad it sat down before almost flying OB.
Stephanie splashes out.
Yeah, after such a great drive, it's tough to see a bogey happen. She was kind of just chipping her way down the fairway.
This is the 4th most difficult. So just think when you play the first 5 holes, you're playing holes 1, 2, and 5, which are 3 of the top 4 most difficult holes on the course. So kind of a challenging start right out of the gate. Looking for a little reprieve, and that's going to ultimately be a bogey for Holly. She goes to +1, but she's been bleeding strokes now as Jen's looking to have a 2-stroke swing on her on this hole. Jen picked up 1 on the last hole, so that's 3 strokes in just 2 holes, and now the deficit is cut in half. It's just 3.
And we're still so early in the round. Holly's got to be feeling the pressure right now. So there's a couple of different options on this hole. You can go wide right over the road, depending on what the wind is doing. You can go straight up the gut, or we've seen some forehand players going wide to the left and bringing it back, but this basket is right at the back end, and I would say the OB Road's within 15
Just throw
feet.
the hyzer then. I'm gonna throw it that low.
Yeah, I'm surprised Jen didn't go with the hyzer.
It's
Pretty calm, actually, up here.
and it's so much more in her wheelhouse. Just a one-angle power hyzer out to the right. I understand she's trying to avoid the road, but that's so much more a shot for her rather than trying to finesse something down there and then have it pump the brakes before getting to the road. I'm shocked by that decision myself.
Sit. Be nice. Yeah. Nice shot. Thanks. Nice, Sandra. You got this hole. Sit. Yeah. Sit.
And it looks good. We'll see just how close she is.
Wow, Jen left it very short. Yeah, she's definitely rethinking that hyzer line.
Well, just the fact that she's bringing the road into play on the approach, she executes it, but for a moment there, that road could still come into play. Long look for Stephanie.
Yeah, and going so direct off the tee shots, I think players are scared to bring that OB into play, so they're not even getting the disc far enough. So there's a lot of these kind of circle 2 putts at this pin.
We've yet to see a birdie on this hole.
Oh, I missed.
Well, maybe come back a few weeks from now for Silver Cup and maybe we'll see some birdies. Confident stroke from Jen.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that the wind isn't blowing as hard as it was kind of in the last 2 days. It was very consistent, but it's more down there in the lowlands. We're now at that top of the hill. So this is a great opportunity to score if you're trying to make up strokes on your competitors. Pars around for everyone on hole 6. All right, this is a tricky hole. Hole 7, I'm not sure what I would do. I feel like the landing zone is so small. You want to land right here, and that would be ideal. There's not much space. The second shots, you're heading down the hill. Hopefully you're giving yourself a putt, but you really have to throw in just the perfect spot to have a look on your second.
Exact same spot. Oh!
Jen clears everything, it looks like. We'll have to see. Maybe she's on the edge of the opening down near the green. And that's going to come in short and push up to the left side.
Well, we saw Evelina and Henna this week get down to the pin and actually have a look to putt. So we know Jen has distance like those women. And so I would have loved to see her really go for this one. Just laying up and trying to hit that landing zone is so tough. But that looks good.
They're laughing. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, because they were.
And I failed to mention it, but Stephanie Vincent is your reigning champion at this event from last year. She took it down in Texas in 2024, beating Jen by 3 strokes.
That's right. And Holly, she reigns out of Wisconsin. Or at some point, she lived in Wisconsin, called Wisconsin home. So that would be huge for Holly to take it down in her home state.
Yeah, she no longer technically is a resident of Wisconsin, but she was for more than 5 or 8 years or so. Now I think she lists Tennessee as home and just struggling to try and get out.
Yeah, Holly can't get away with living in Wisconsin with a southern accent. You could tell that don't think you're from here.
So Jen made it around everything and is actually going to have a long eagle look, and she just asked Holly to go ahead and mark her lie. She said, in case I wanted to jump forward, she doesn't want to land on her disc. And then it got me thinking, does Holly have to? As Jen has an eagle bid and now a tap-in birdie coming? Could you just refuse if someone said, hey, I'd like you to mark that?
Yeah, I guess. If you're going to be that way.
I was just wondering. I was trying to think of the rules in my head as to...
Yeah, there's nothing to force you to have to mark it. I actually have played with people who have asked me to mark a disc because the disc was distracting because it was too close to them. Me, as a nice person, I did so, but I thought it was very, very strange, and I still do.
The birdie action for Stephanie, trying to fight back to par on the day. She's 2 over, and that's going to be a disappointing par for Sandra. And Holly ultimately in for the par. And we move into the woods of hole 8.
Yeah, compared to what they played earlier the week at Roland Ridge, this is nothing. But this is a challenging hole to get the birdie. You have to throw a very technical S shot. So you want an anhyzer release, and then it needs a hyzer back at the end if you want to hit that line. That's got one angle nailed. Just didn't hyzer at the end. And it's just 268, so it's well within range if you can really get that angle dialed up.
Yeah, if you're throwing this and you don't hear it hit trees, you can assume it was at least a decent shot. When you're putting on a turnover like that by Holly, we'll see how close she is. This is too straight, or does she have the alternative fairway? She does.
That's what I want to see.
Here's to hoping. I don't know.
And Jen does have a look. There, it's a wall of trees on this left side. High right. That had plenty of chains, but just too much to the right.
Count it.
Oh,
got that one fun too.
my goodness.
I'm just excited.
Are you good?
I'm good. You gotta pick your feet up when you move.
Sandra, you're hilarious. Oh my God.
I won't replay it here, but it will be clipped for social media, so just look for it there instead. And Finley, confident putt.
I hope Sandra's okay.
I don't know if she's ever going to be okay. We've hung out for enough rounds. I'm going to second guess all of that. But now Finley is back to a 4-stroke lead. It was 6 to start. And Stephanie can't get it to drop. This plays as the easiest hole on the entire course. Almost everyone taking either a birdie or a par. So it played as the easiest. In fact, of our finalists, we see that Holly Finley and Sandra Richardson were the only 2 birdies. So rest were pars for the most part as we head to the last hole of the front 9.
Yeah, a very narrow fairway to hit. This is another great birdie opportunity. 277 feet, right up the gut. You just got to pick a disc that you can rely on that's going to fly that straight flight and keep you in bounds.
Pulls it. That is a late release, but we'll see how much progress she still makes. It seemed to keep fighting.
And so this hole is lined by Lake Michigan on the left side. You can hear the water. You can hear the waves.
If you
I
were
don't
to go,
think they can reach it, though.
No, I was going to say, you would have to throw straight left about 100 feet, maybe 125 feet, and you would be in Lake Michigan. So that is the waves, like you said, that they're hearing. What a line.
Yes.
Is there a cat out there? Sandra from the short tee now, essentially. That's pulled right. You've seen all the drone previews. I want to give a big thanks to the Disc Golf Network and Pro Tour who lent me their drone previews. They managed to not run into trees like I do, so I appreciate not having to go out there and get them on my own.
How many drones have you gone through these days?
So far, just one, but that's one more than I'd like to.
Holly, almost driving it in from long range.
Of course, I'll ask you to do all the YouTube things, like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think of the FP40 action. Put that in the comments. I'm sure we can have some kind of giveaway for you guys. Oh, look at that confidence. What a par save.
She said, got to be a fighter, and she is fighting right now.
Big thanks to all my Patreon supporters. Coverage like this would not be possible if it weren't for the support that I get via Patreon, along with all the channel members. I'll say it again, Dustin on his birthday coming up to help out with this. It wasn't originally on the schedule for him to be working the channel this weekend. And
Happy
knowing this would be
birthday.
such a good battle, we were super happy to make it happen. He did all the filming, and I was happy to put the edit together, and then Val joining. I mean, what a combo.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Finley looking to take a 4-stroke lead into the back 9. She started with 6, and now it's 4. Trying to hold on. That's all we've got. Like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Holly Finley out in front by 4. We'll see you on the back 9.